Okay, good morning. This is going to be my review for Anomalisa. Once again, this is off the top of my head, so please excuse me a few ums and ahs, but we'll get to the point eventually. So, Anomalisa is the second fully written and directed film by acclaimed screenwriter Charlie Kaufman. Um, Kaufman, you will best know for his Academy Award winning film Being John Malkovich, where he won the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. He was also nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay for Adaptation, which I consider to be one of the best scripts ever written. The movie itself is just pure genius, and it's great. It's truly great. I would like to see Kaufman getting back with those big budget type productions and linking up with big actors and really flexing his writing muscles. Um, Flexing his muscles in this film, Anomalisa, is what he's doing for sure. He never does it right well. A big budget, this is not. This is as fringe as it can get. Before we discuss the film, a little bit more background on Kaufman. His only other fully directed and written film, because mainly he's acclaimed for writing, is a wonderful film called Synecdoche. I hope I'm saying that right. Synecdoche, New York. A film with Philip Seymour Hoffman, where it's just so big and bold and amazing. It's about this playwright who basically decides to write this play that's just gonna consume his entire life, and he writes himself into the play, and the play takes years and years and years to write, and it's about so much more. Really about life and largely about death, but we're not talking about Synecdoche right here. That's his magnum opus. So if you want to see what Kaufman's all about, just go watch Synecdoche, New York. You can stop the review right now and go watch Synecdoche, New York. Okay, now that you've watched the film and you're ready to experience another Kaufman film, and you think you understand life a little bit, and you know it's kind of shitty because that's what Kaufman's all about, now we're going to watch Anomalisa. So, this is a low budget film, and it's like a stop motion animation. Well, I'll throw up a little bit of the trailer here just so you can see how it looks to sort of understand what I'm talking about. What I didn't really catch in the trailers, and maybe I should have, is that it only features three voice actors. And for the beginning of this film, it's somewhat of a love story, single location love story around a hotel. So there's the guy that I guess he ran away from his wife because of problems unnamed, or on a break or whatever, or he's running from himself. He's just running. These are largely tropes you'll see in many of Kaufman's films, characters that are just confused with things they don't even understand, problems that are creeping in, but problems they can't name, nameless worries, compounding worries, stress, strain, anxiety. These are all things that are very prevalent in Charlie Kaufman films, and at no loss for in Anomalisa here. Going back to the fact that the film only has three voice actors, and for the entirety of the first act, there's only two. There's Michael, our main character, who's a middle-aged professional, kind of lost in life. He's a motivational speaker of some sorts. He teaches how to better serve people in customer service. It's kind of silly what his job is, but it doesn't get into it too much, although the point of him being at the hotel is that he has to make this speech. So there's Michael going to the hotel to deliver the speech, lost in his life, running away from his wife. I'm not sure if he says he's actually running or he's just mentally running. He might just be going on vacation, well, going on this trip, and maybe things didn't end too well at home. It's clear there's a disconnect between him, his wife, his kid, and to the larger extent, everyone else. That's why it weirded me out at first with the two voices, because his wife sounds like the voice of everyone else. There's his wife sounds like the same voice actor as his wife. His wife sounds like the same voice actor as the cab driver. His wife sounds like the same voice actor as the lady he met for a drink in a bar. His wife sounds like the same voice actor as the bartender. right? There's him and everyone else. And that was strange at first. I didn't know, I couldn't really figure it out. And then it didn't take long to click. And it clicks well before you get to the second act and you meet another voice, which is very strange when you first hear the voice of a woman. He's in the hall just being depressed, just feeling like he's lost in this nameless anxiety, this world he can't really name, these feelings he doesn't understand, and then he hears a voice, and I believe he says someone else. And that's when we meet the other voice, and it's the woman. And that's when it's a love story about it's basically a one-night stand scenario where you fall madly in love with that person and whatever. But it's quite powerful when you do hear the other voice, because it's so weird for the whole first act to hear everyone else's voice as that other third actor. There's you, there's her, and there's everyone else. So when you meet her, it really is that. It's powerful, and there's a point I believe he does even tell her, there's you, everyone else, and me, and there's only you and everyone else, and she's different because of that. Now, that's kind of as much as I want to say about the film as far as it goes. Like, it's sort of a one day in a hotel thing. There's a lot of not a lot. I watching this movie, I knew the Kaufman weirdness was coming. Like, the kind of postmodern strangeness, the kind of Thomas Pynchon-esque, it's real but it's not, over-exaggerated situations. They're all there. Like, there's moments that happen in the film that, if you want to think of it as a reality, might not really have happened. Like they happened, but you can't really explain that, and the film doesn't really try to explain it. So is it just postmodern weirdness? Well, yeah, it's Charlie Kaufman postmodern weirdness, and there's a lot of that in these movies. If you've seen John Malkovich, if you've seen Synecdoche, New York, and you can draw all sorts of meanings from these parts, which is great. That's why they're there. There's wonderful parts where I don't know, and it's weird. It's really weird. So I don't know. I like the weirdness. I was watching it at the first third act. I didn't really put it all together, and I wasn't sure what I was watching. I almost don't think I even understood the voice part, and I was thinking like a 2 at times, because I wanted more from Kaufman. I know how Kaufman rolls, and I wanted the meaning of life entrenched in these little packets. I want to feel it all when I'm watching the Charlie Kaufman movie. I want to understand the world, but maybe not right at first. I want to be confused as shit at first, and then only understand the world after I've really thought about the movie. That's what you get from a Charlie Kaufman written and directed film, and I wasn't sure if I was getting that at first. And then it got weird. It almost got comically weird at parts during some of the sexual scenes, because, like I said, this is a stop motion film, all animated, and yeah, like, there's nudity, and it's weird, but realistically weird. That's another thing that many critics have said, that the film is more real than many real live action films, which I was really trying to interpret that as I was watching. And for the beginning of it, I wasn't feeling it, like, the realness. I was too lost in trying to watch the acting, when really there is no acting. It's just faces that move ever slightly, every frame or whatever, right? Like, it's stop motion. But the writing, once you let your guard down and you get into the second and third act and the long courting scene where he meets her and then talks her into bed through awkward, just whatever, being an older guy with a bit of money. And it's not exactly like that. I don't know. It's not charming. It's just real life, the scene. It's very strange how they get together. It's strange because sex is strange. And two people together in a room naked is awkward and weird at first. And it's not always like a hot fuck session. And that's not what is that. Well, they do a good job of portraying that idea here during the lovemaking scene. Um, and then the Charlie Kaufman weirdness that it's hard to explain, and I don't want to spoil any of the film, comes in, and it brings me up to like a 3.5 because I love Kaufman and it's weird. And then the last 10 minutes of the movie really closed it for me in a way that I'm still thinking about. The message, it hits the message, the nail on the head. Like, you don't have to think too hard about the film to really understand the message. And I could just easily just say it right here. But the film does it's all about leading to this. And like, I've probably already alluded to it earlier when referencing one night stands and whatnot, but it hits the nail on the head here about love and romance and our ideas we make up for people when we first see them, and how we're willing to put up with so much. Maybe it's to get sex, or maybe it's to keep that idea of that perfect person alive when we meet them, because we start noticing the tics and weirdness right away, or how dumb we think this woman is, or weird spots on the body, and I'm sure everybody does that, and you just put it aside because you're in love. But it shows that I don't know, what is the message without saying this? It's sort of about the many fish in the sea thing, but not in a good way. Like, with all these fish and they're all the same, like, who are you? Who are you when you're just like her? Or when I'm just like him? I don't know. My score was all over for this one, and I've been thinking about it a lot. This is a 4 for sure. For me, it's a 4.5. I might look back on this movie and think it as a 5. Would I show this to someone? I don't know. I would not show this to somebody because they would probably laugh at some parts and then I'd be upset at them. I really like this movie. I think it's still affecting me. That's great. I'll probably think of it further down the line. Keep thinking of it. It's a 4.5, and if I keep thinking of it, it could be a 5. I don't want to give it a 5 because I know that Kaufman can do so much wonders, and I wish that we would just give him the supplies and free roll to make another movie like Synecdoche, New York, because the guy's a genius. But a high 4 for sure. I truly enjoyed this movie. I didn't know how to feel about it at all during it, and it came together perfect for me. Peace.